Today, I've got with me someone super incredible. I can't wait for you to hear their story. I can't wait for you to hear their advice. So, we've got Emmanuel in the studio with us today. He's going to be talking about how you can do more with your finance, how you can create more, how you can create a legacy, and how you can go on to create wealth. So, he's going to be sharing so much information, so many tools, so many tips, so many tricks. Emmanuel's actually a TV personality, and he was on the show Save Well, Spend Better, and that's on Channel 4. I can't wait for you to hear this interview. It's going to change your perspective and it will change your life. Catch you soon. How are you?
I'm good. You?
Good. So we were talking off camera. In fact, we had a deep conversation off camera about both our passions for helping our community.
Yeah.
Interesting, because let me find out your reason first. Why do you care so much about empowering your community? Why is that important to you?
I just feel like I see us suffering so much, and when I look at other communities, I see them thriving. I help them to thrive.
So you're guilty.
I'm guilty. I'm part of the problem. Like I'm doing mortgages, property, and it's not my people that I'm helping. And I just feel like not that I don't want other people to succeed, but I feel like we have the same jobs, we have the same income, but our mentality and knowledge is just so much different that we don't value the things that other people value. And our values in things that normally tend to lose us money.
Do you know what's interesting? So before, in fact, we should do an introduction. So I'm TJ, this is Emmanuel, and Emmanuel is a TV personality. Well, he's famous actually. So I'm actually quite privileged to have him in the office with me today. But do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Emmanuel. I'm a financial advisor. I help people go from a place of looking at money as something they can use to spend and understanding that it's a tool and how they can build it and make more money, and not only make money, build wealth so that lasts a generation and generations.
Wow. So interesting, you mentioned build wealth and last for generations. One thing that you said a second ago also, I'm just putting both of them together. You mentioned you work with different types of people, different communities, and you see that other communities are thriving, but we've all got access to the same information.
Exactly.
And then you also mentioned about helping people build generational wealth.
Yeah.
What is it in our community that causes us, and this is just my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, that causes us to be quite short-term minded and short-focused, whereas many other communities are thinking about what can I do to improve myself so that I can influence or have some sort of impact on my next generation? What's it about us?
I think the number one thing I've realised with us is we haven't understood the value of paying for advice.
Wow.
We don't understand the importance of paying for advice. And so what we try to do is talk to as many of our friends as we can, or find someone, I know someone that works in a bank. Do you understand? These times that person's in admin, they ain't got a clue. They ain't got, do you know what I mean?
They have no idea.
Do you understand? So because we don't value the paying for advice, we feel that, we're not going to pay for it, and then we miss out. And we do what other people do, but we end up falling short.
So interesting, you've said something that's really important. It's the Google syndrome.
Yes.
For example, if I've got a headache, I go on Google and I say I've got a headache, and Google tells you you've got cancer. And Google tells you that you've got some incurable disease, and you panic. And it's the same thing as we nitpick. So you say, okay, I need to change my life. I am crap with my finance. I don't know what to budget. And these are the things you teach people, but people want to try and figure it out themselves. I came across, I don't know if you know him, a guy called Ty Lopez. So internet marketer. And I watched an interview from him some time ago, and he said, I can't understand why people don't pay for advice or people don't get mentors from the experienced people. Because we didn't teach ourselves to talk, we didn't teach ourselves to walk, we didn't teach ourselves to drive. So how can we think we can figure every single thing out ourselves by typing on Google? But the problem is, what do you even type on Google? What do you say? So you teach something. In fact, let me go back to this. You mentioned something. So Emmanuel and I spoke at an event some time ago, and you said something that had the entire crowd in stitches. You said something along the lines of, Instagram likes doesn't pay your bills.
No.
Because people in our community are so focused on getting hits and likes, rather than focusing on ways to build wealth for themselves. But before you can even build wealth, what is it that they need to do? Before you can even start talking about millions and millions, what do they even have to do before that?
It's mindset. It's all about the mindset, and people understanding the mindset and understanding what are they prepared to sacrifice in order to get to wealth. And the thing is, we watch videos or we'll watch things and think, oh yes, people are doing well. you are looking at the product. You haven't looked at the work it took to make to get to that position.
Yeah.
And so we just want the instant gratification. And so what I like to teach people is the mindset of delayed gratification. I'm going to miss out on something now and use the money that I would have spent on doing that to invest, and later on I would have built up enough to pay for the lifestyle I want to live. And I no longer have to work for someone telling me, you must be here at this time, you must go home at that time, and all of a sudden you can't go to your child. And this is the thing for me. This is why I couldn't survive in a bank. Because I couldn't stand missing teacher's parent day. I couldn't stand not being able to take my kids to school. I'm just going at the end of the week and thinking, wow, you're an inch taller. And I know nothing
and
about.
I've missed out on
Where have you learned these words?
Yeah.
And so for me, that's what I value. So I had to then say, what can I use, the skills that I've got? And that's where people miss out. Listen, a lot of people understand is that if I might be an electrician. Okay, that's what I do, and that's how I make my money. But that doesn't mean I can't become become a property. I can't become an investor.
Absolutely.
I just need to pay the right person who can do it for me. And so when we talk about diversification, we understand we don't put all our eggs in one basket.
Yes.
But what we do in life, especially when it comes to work and our money, is put all our eggs in one basket. Until one day the man says, listen, we can't do this anymore. Or there's a law change. And all of a sudden, that industry that was so popping is wiped out. And that's how we suffer.
God, you're dropping some gems here. Because most people don't think far ahead.
Exactly.
Because everyone thinks that their current situation is going to be their current situation for life.
Exactly.
When, if you actually look at it, there's a likely chance that you just mentioned, a law might change.
Of course.
We saw it with, let's say, the solar panel industry.
Of course.
People got wiped out straight away. You see it with different laws coming into place. Industry sectors wiped out. Redundancies wiped out. Look, none of us anticipated Brexit.
No.
Many people would have lost their jobs. Many things would have had to change. So how powerful is it that people need to get serious about creating an additional income? In fact, before you create an additional income, what should they be doing with their initial income right now?
And that's the thing. So I always talk about, there's two things we can do. We can either make your money increase or we can make it outgo as decrease. Those are the only two. People always come to me, what can I do with my money? Listen, you either reduce how much you spend or you increase the amount that you make.
Yeah.
And so when I look at where you are today, are you making the maximum for the effort and the income that you get? Sometimes actually what you need to do is actually work less. And so you look at the job that you're at and you say, actually, I'm not going to get that promotion because that promotion means I'm tied to this income. I will not have time to make other income.
Wow.
So I'm going to stick to my day job of what I know. I come here, I'm not stressed. I know it inside out. So now what I do from 5 to 9 is what's going to change my life.
Yes.
Not what I do from 9 to 5 pays my bills. And that will maintain my lifestyle ongoing.
Yeah.
What I do from 5 to 9 is what will then change my life and the life of my children and children to come.
Wow.
And that's what people miss out.
So many people are so focused on living.
Yes.
So I get this backlash a lot because I'm very aggressive in my approach of people saying, TJ, I want to change my life. And I'm like, okay, cool. You want to change your life? Do this, or never speak to me again. That's just me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, if you really want change, then you've got to do something about it. And then people say, well, what about the balance of life? What about if I wanted to go on holiday? If I wanted to spend all my money on buying some fancy shoes and a fancy handbag, or going to a club and spending £1,000 on bottles? So where do you draw the balance? What would you advise people to do? It's people that want to live their life and people that need to save.
And that's the thing for me. I think in the short term, forget that. In the short term, we forget that. Because we say, listen, it's not going anywhere. That club is going to be, there's going to be another club in the future.
Yes.
There's going to be another holiday to come. In the short term, I'm not saying forever, in the short term, we forego these things and we focus. And then what we do is we have a little pot where we say, okay, I want to save X amount. Yeah. I'm going to give myself £50 a month or £100 a month to enjoy, to do whatever I want, and whatever I do, nobody can tell me nothing.
Yes.
If I want to use that £100 to get £1 coins and just drop it, whatever I want to do with it, I can do. That's up to me.
Yeah.
That's my choice, and we'll give yourself that. But the remainder is for a bigger picture. And the problem is, and this is one thing that I want everyone to understand. I'm going to look at the camera. I want you to understand, is that where you are today is not where you are in life.
Wow.
Where you are today is a moment in time. And so the problem is the reason why you won't get to where you want to get to is because you're so focused on where I am today and looking at everyone else that you're not prepared to what you would consider downgrade.
Wow.
But I need you to understand, when I see my richest clients, and I'm talking the wealthiest, you might, if you saw them, you might give them £5. The way they dress, the way they look, because they understand that, listen, the clothes I wear mean nothing.
Nothing.
If I want to understand how much money I've got this special app, and that special app is called online banking. And you see what online banking does? It tells the truth. You see your Instagram, you got filters. Do you understand? You see your online banking, there's no filter for that. There's no filter. There's no filter that can say you're not in your overdraft.
Yeah.
You're really there.
Whoa.
There's no filter that can say I'm not using my credit card. And listen, don't be worried about debt. This is another thing that people, some of my clients that make the most money, they have maximized their overdraft, maximized their credit card. It's what they've done with it.
Wow.
If you're going to get yourself in a position of debt today, and like I said, where you are today is not where you're at. So if I'm here today and I'm in 20k debt, it's not an issue if I know that I've invested that 20k for the future.
Yes.
But what the problem is that 20k that we do is in clothes, is in shoes, it's in experiences. I've gone on holidays, I've gone to restaurants and taken pictures. This is why Instagram is so important to you, because the majority of your money is all that's left is pictures on Instagram.
And it doesn't translate into money.
Doesn't make you money.
So you've mentioned something that's crucial for people to understand. There is a big difference between good debt and bad debt.
Big difference.
You will find a lot of people, especially us as property investors.
Come on.
It's called leveraging.
Where
for
are we coming
example,
from?
if you've got to take up money somewhere to utilize that makes you more money, then that's not a problem. Because it's at that point, it's a liability that turns into a potential asset and it gives you an income.
When we talk about the Silicon Valley.
Yes.
What are they trying to do? They're trying to get investment. That investment is debt.
It's debt. Oh, I've never thought about it like
most of the time they are leveraging and saying, look, if you invest in us and give us this money, we will then return X back to you.
Wow.
That's what we're trying to do. And yet when we do it, we feel bad.
Yeah.
Listen, we're not Donald Trump. We ain't got the little small loan of £1 million.
Of £1 million.
You understand?
Yeah.
We have to look at what do we have. The problem is that when we have it, when the bank says, okay, here's a 20 grand credit card, we are going to splash it.
Nobu, Hakkasan's, Lubes, Balenciagas, couple Rolexes that you're still going to get robbed for. So what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
And then we have nothing to show for it. And then that guilt, that embarrassment forces us to go get a job, and now we're paying monthly. And we're stuck in that cycle.
Do you know what? Oh, God. Guys, it wasn't me that said it. So if you're looking for someone to dislike, it was Emmanuel. You're so right. Yeah. So to perpetuate a narrative, you're feeding that habit more and more. So you're feeding that debt more and more.
Of course.
Oh my God.
This is why my clients, I see them and I'm talking, I've seen people in severe debt. But you know what? Sometimes that process of being in debt is that humbling process. And you'll know from business, and I've had it, where sometimes the lows of being in business is the reason why you make sure you wake up before your alarm.
Wow.
Is the reason why when you know you're supposed to go home, you carry on. Sometimes I'm telling, when I meet people in severe cases, and our focus is paying off this debt. Yeah. And we get in the habit and we pay off this debt. And once we pay off this debt, the habit that we used to pay off the debt is now the same habit we used to start to save and invest.
Absolutely.
And you're able to sacrifice. And the problem is once you pay off the debt, okay, we'll stop the second job. No, we're keeping that second job. Because now we've got more money to save, more money to build, and we're building. And now we're building, now we're investing. Now we're sorting out your credit. Because like we said, we talked about leveraging. Nobody wants to borrow you money because the way you use it. It's about your behaviors. And until you understand the behavior that you tell a bank with the way that you use credit, until you understand that behavior, why are they going to give you more?
So what have you seen with regards to some of your clients? Because one thing that I know with many of my clients and people that I mentor is they have a very bad relationship with their bank statements.
Of course.
Because you know you're in debt. You know your habits are bad. So you don't look at it.
Of course.
So you carry on spending and spending. So you have a number of programs. So you help different people improve their lives and eventually go on to create wealth.
Yes.
So of course that doesn't happen overnight.
No.
But you've got to start from
somewhere.
So there's the beginning point for anyone that wants to change their lives or even work with you. The beginning comes with them identifying that they need some help.
Yes. So that's the first place. The first place is realizing you need help. But you already knew that before you came.
That's
all right? Yeah. You already knew you needed help because you already understand that if I said, look, there's an opportunity, because we talk about opportunities. Yeah. And I always tell people, when it comes to money is just allowing you to take an opportunity that other people can't take because they don't have money. Yeah. And so what we're doing is getting you to the point where you can get into a position to take opportunities. But if you can't take opportunities, you know you need help.
Yeah.
So now you understand you need help. You understand that you see people doing property, doing investing, making money, going on, and you can't do that.
You can't do that.
Okay, great. Thing. You can't do that. So now you know that there's a point of change. And so with my first meeting, there's normally tears. If not tears, there's normally a lot of regret. It's a counselling session, really. Because what we're doing is saying, you have not really understood money. Because they're not going to teach you how to use money properly. Because it's not in their favour. You have to understand that debt is £1 billion industry. They want you to be in debt. Yeah. Because that's, if I know that I can get from savers, I can get money at less than 1%, and I can borrow it back out at 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 on a credit card, 20%. I want you to be in debt. I need you to be over here in debt so I can be over here nice. And so what I'm trying to say is, once you understand that, listen, I want to be able to take opportunities. I want to be able to change my life, but I understand that the way I understand money and the way I'm using money is not to my best interest. That's what we do in our first meeting. And we really sit down and understand, what are you trying to achieve? Because a lot of times you're not realistic. I want to buy this, I want to buy that. No, you don't. You don't. Okay, I want to get my first house and I want to use Help to Buy. And I want to buy it for $500,000. $500,000 for your first house, for you to live in. It's a liability.
Do you know what? Whoa, right there. I love this. You've just said something that I've been saying for so long. Your first home or your residential property is a flipping liability. It's a liability. Explain why it is to them, because they don't want to hear it from me. So someone with your credentials, your expertise, explain to them why your first home that you are living in is a liability. Because people don't even get what liability is. To many people, they're going to say, God, that makes no sense because a home is an asset. What do you mean by your first home is a liability?
The reason it's a liability, because what you are saying is, I'm going to now have to pay X amount for 25, and let me tell you now, a lot of my clients, it's 35 years just to get on the affordability. So now for 35 years, you are guaranteeing that you're going to be able to afford to make this payment. And if you don't make this payment, the bank are going to come and take your home. Okay? So it's a liability. You have to now pay this out each month. So what I'm saying to my clients is, actually, let's be humble. Let's get something that's affordable. And let's not guarantee that we know that the money that we're on today, we're going to be on it for the next 35 years. Because there's no guarantee, not with Brexit and not with Donald Trump and not with Boris. Okay?
Definitely not with Boris.
Definitely no guarantees in anything. So let's humble ourselves and let's get something that we know that even if we get a change in our circumstance, we'll still be able to afford. And then that additional money that we would have been paying on mortgage, let's save that and let's go buy something that's going to make us money.
Perfect. I hope you guys caught that. Because you're going to get a lot of people online saying, hey, do whatever you've got to do. I can't remember who it was. Someone's got a T-shirt company or something that says there's rice at home.
Yes.
I can't remember who it is, but it was incredible.
Bola.
Okay. So there's rice at home. That's similar to what you're saying is, don't go and buy a £500,000 house if you don't have a plan in place. So essentially what you're saying is, make sure you've got multiple things, or you've got the foundations correct before you start doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
And this is what I talk about advice, because then I've got clients who will put 500,000 into a house and never live in it.
Yes.
But the way they look at the house and where they're coming from, to them, that's not a house, it's a bank account. And if I had a bank account, if I offered you a bank account and that bank account could earn you 5 to 10% a year, you would say, wow, with current interest rates, 5 to 10% a year is amazing. I'm going to put my 500K there. But they're doing it cash, no mortgage. And it's just there. It sits there and it grows. And when they come on holiday, they'll live in it. And when they're not, they'll leave it empty because they can't be bothered to deal with tenants.
Repairs and stuff. Yes.
But they're coming from economies in China, in Russia, where, the economy is not as easy. I mean, if not last year, the end of the year before, China just said, listen, no one's taking money out.
You can't take money out.
You couldn't take money out. So imagine if you're living in this environment where you can't take money out. Of course, if I can put my money out, and if I want to sell it, I can sell it. If I want to raise funds on it, I can raise money on it as well, because banks will borrow to me because it's an asset.
So people are not catching that.
And this is what I try and understand. We can buy the same thing, and for one person it's good, and for another person it's bad. And so it's all about, what are you trying to achieve? Where are you coming from? What is your foundation? And that's why you pay for advice.
Wow. Again, I hope you guys are catching this. I really hope you guys are catching this. So I wanted to just double back on why your first home. So remember that there's a big difference between what we're saying. We didn't say your first property, your first home. Home means you live in it, which means it's not giving you an income. You're pouring money into it. So take it however you want. It's still a liability. So when you speak to some people will say, hey, do you know what? Buy a home. It's cheaper than paying rent and so and so. Listen, if you've got a spare room in your mum's house, stay in your mum's house.
But that's what we do. We get them to buy a house, and then they stay in their mum's home. And people will say, oh, Emmanuel, but how? I thought you can't do that. This is why you pay for advice. When you sit down, I'm not going to tell you. But when you pay for advice, you come and sit down, I'll explain to you how we do it, why we do it. But also, one thing I do want to talk about a lot is what you do, TJ, in regards to helping people who are not yet ready So imagine, okay, yes, we want to buy a house. We know that even the smallest, you're going to need 5% deposit.
Yes.
It's a lot of money. If you say in London 300k,
Absolutely.
you're looking at 15 grand.
Yep.
So if I can use 5 grand, and 5 grand can now get me an income, and I can then, instead of using 15 to buy one house, I can use 5, or I use 15 on 3 different properties, providing me an income. Now when I go to buy my first house, why can't I buy whatever
Absolutely.
I want? I've got income. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? But the problem is we kill ourselves and put as much as we can down. We can't afford it, so now we've got to put even more on to buy this one house, new build, on a great location.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden we're trapped. I've got people who are trapped on shared ownership.
Yeah, and
they can't get out because you can't sell it because the council are choosing the price. Remember, you don't control the price. The council control the price. You can only sell it to people that qualify for shared ownership. Whoa. So it's not like you can sell it to the whole of the market.
So you're certain amount of people, so you're passing it on.
You can't rent it out.
So what is shared ownership, just quickly?
So shared ownership is when you split between you and the government, basically, or the local authority. You say they allow you to get a house, and then you only have to put in, let's say, 25%, and then you rent on the other 75%. Yeah. But the 75% is discounted, so you only pay 75% of a discounted rent.
Yes.
So it makes it cheaper and allows you to be able to walk around and tell everybody, I'm a homeowner. Okay. However, once you've done that, you've now tied yourself in. When you want to go and buy the next step, it's at the value that it is in the future.
Yes.
And so what happens is that, remember, new builds are overpriced. So imagine to buy that property, if you bought it every 3 or 4 years, the house that originally might have cost, let's say, 400k, by the time you've bought it in 5, 6, 7, 8 years' time, now you're talking about you might have spent 600,000 to buy the same home.
Whoa.
When you could have humbled yourself and not necessarily had the best house in the city centre, by the river. Do you understand?
So again, this is something I talk to my staff as well, because they're all young and they all want to get into property, so, and they're all looking at these fancy houses on Google, new builds as well. And I'm trying to explain that these houses are overinflated, they're overpriced. But the reason why they want these fancy houses is so they can have come dine with me sessions, so they can invite their friends over, so they can do Instagram pictures. But the problem is they're not looking at the figures.
They're not looking at the figures, number one. Number two, listen, there's Airbnb, as you know.
Yes.
When it's time to front, you can front, and you can do it for cheap. Why own it? When I want to use it, I'll use it and walk away. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Even to the point now, like I was saying about car buying. Yes. So now we're now at a stage where, really and truly, if you're going to buy a really nice car and you don't drive, you're wasting your money. What are you doing? What my friends do is buy really nice cars, but then they use the apps to rent it out. So actually, the monthly payment that they'll pay on their car, they're actually making more than that, renting it out. And then when they want to front, they'll go and front. And when they don't, then they leave it and rent it out and makes them money.
It's the same as me. So I bought a car rental and I rent it out and it pays over and over and over and pays for all my expenses.
Exactly.
But I get to be flashy when I need to be flashy. See, the shared economy is where my head is right now. So with regards to what I teach, which is service accommodation, with regards to Uber, Airbnb, car rental opportunities, but people are so focused. And again, this might be some people in our community's fault, because we've come from a place of no ownership.
Exactly.
So we preach ownership, which ownership is fantastic. It's absolutely great because you get to control and you get to determine and have a say. But if you can't afford it, then leverage.
That's it.
It's the word that people are missing. Get to leverage.
Of course.
So I wanted to touch on something. Again, this is something else when we spoke at the same event. I think it was the property event. You mentioned something as well about pensions.
Yes.
So I want to talk about pensions in a moment. But again, just how it works in my head, I'm thinking that there are stages to creating wealth.
Yes.
Stage number 1 is identifying you have a problem. Stage number 2 is figuring out what you need to do.
Exactly.
Would stage number 3 be utilizing the stuff that we have in front of us, like ISAs and savings accounts?
Yes. So it's important to know what allowances, all the allowances that are available to you, but also to know what stage you are in life. Okay. So people will say, "Oh, should I put money into my pension?" I will look at what stage are you in life, because when you're in your early years, you can afford to put small amounts into pension because maybe you want to buy property, maybe you want to go into invest in that way. So actually, you're not going to put as much in at that stage. Also, you're not going to be on a huge amount of income because you're now joining the sector. As you then go through, most of my clients start putting huge amounts into pension 45 plus, because now they're thinking once you get to 45, you're thinking, right, 65.
Yeah, it's round the corner.
It's round the
Yeah.
corner. And do I even want to work to 65?
True.
So now you're going to put a lot more in. Also, you're earning more. So now you're giving 45% to the government.
Yeah.
So now you're going to use your pension to reduce the amount. You would have lost that money anyway.
Whoa.
Not only that, now you can look at commercial property. So now you might start a business. Now, like we've got an office here, you might buy this office within your pension.
Yeah.
Then you are now your own landlord. You are now paying your money into your pension, but now that's going in tax-free because the pension is a tax-free environment. Also, the property itself, once sold, because it's sold within the remit of a pension, there's no capital gains tax.
Whoa. Whoa, it's too much.
There's too much information. But
It's
what I'm saying is that if we don't know, there are reasons why you look at people and say, how can we earn similar amounts of money, but your life is so much different? It's the fact that they were able to pay for the knowledge to level them up. And now you're seeing the fruit of their labour years later.
Because they were able to give up some things.
Of course.
Again, we hear one word over and over and over: sacrifice. And everyone says it. Oh, I sacrifice for my love. I sacrifice because of my faith. When it comes down to money, that's one thing that we don't sacrifice on.
But we do sacrifice it. We just don't see them as sacrifices because we sacrifice them on going to parties. We sacrifice them on the clothes. We're literally burning, sacrificing. But we're we are literally sacrificing our joy, our future joy, the future life. We're just burning it away, throwing it away all the time, and yet we're smiling about it. And that's why other communities look at us. They're laughing. They laugh. They can't believe it because they think, wow, if they had the power, the swagger. This is what if they had what we had, and we had the knowledge. Why wouldn't they fear? Because when I look at, I always talk about Asian community because Asian and Jewish communities are the two that I really respect because I have a lot of clients and the way that they see one another is never as competition. I don't know if you've ever seen a Jewish bakery, but you're never going to tell me that the price of bread in a Jewish bakery can compare to Tesco. Wow. It's much more expensive, but they understand that I'm investing in my community. I understand the importance of buying from my own. I understand that shop owner, by me paying, can now afford to send their kids to a better school.
And that school's probably owned by
us, with our people in it. And so the big thing, and when I look at my Asian communities, how close they are together. So a lot of the time, they're buying houses in threes.
They're
buying houses in threes. We are buying our little one and going into the corner, and we're the only one from the village in the town that we live in.
You're not even welcome there.
They don't even like you. They don't even like you.
Yeah.
These guys are buying in free and they're living together and they're not happy until every single one owns one.
Have you not seen what many people in the Asian community do? They'll buy a house, but they'll still all go back and live in their parents' house.
It's unbelievable.
As a married couple, you go back and live in your parents' house.
Go back. Yeah, we get our first job and we're already on Zupa looking at I want to live in Canary Wharf.
Don't stop me.
And this is the problem. So it's not necessarily, and this is why I talk about money being a tool. We're all making it. And one thing I can say for the black community is we know how to make money. We've been making money. We've been working hard. It's just about the tools and understanding what we can do to kind of
maintain and grow it.
Exactly.
Maintain and grow it. So I wanted to delve into something because I really like what you're doing. I think what you're doing is so important for our community. In terms of what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you're teaching people the foundations of money.
Yes.
This is the thing that they don't teach in school.
Exactly.
So there are 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 65-year-olds who still don't understand how the economy works and how money works. So you're a slave to it because you don't understand it to be able to control it.
Exactly.
So you have a program. And the program, tell us a bit more about one of your programs.
Yeah, so I think the big thing for me is number one is that a lot, especially our parents come from an environment where when you rent in Africa, you pay your rent a year.
Advance.
A year in advance.
Yeah.
When you buy the land and you build the house. Yeah. So why would you come and understand mortgage? Why would you understand credit? These are not systems that are in place from where you come from.
Yeah.
So a lot of our parents can't teach us about stuff that they've never done before.
Wow.
And nobody taught them when they came. That's not all they got taught was to go to work, make money, pay bills. They weren't taught how to leverage and so forth. And so a lot of our parents that have got property a lot of them have been lucky in regards to having council houses, right to buy and moved on. But even then, we haven't really utilised the way that other communities have utilised it. Okay? So what I do on my course, and I guess the big one, the one that most people tend to go for is the 750, which is basically a one-to-one sit down. Like I said, And
so an analysis.
So we analyze
about the person,
about you. Okay. And this is what's different from most other people is that with me, I'm a financial advisor, and this is actually what I do. I'm qualified to do this. It's not something that I've got a passion of. I've read a book.
Uncle in church.
No,
hey, your money
is exactly. This is what I do and have done for clients. I've done study courses and so forth. And so what we do is look at you as an individual. Look at where you are today. Where do you want to be? And my job as a financial advisor is to bridge the gap.
Wow.
And also to be realistic. Listen, where you want to be, that's not for you. You're aiming for stuff that you don't even need. That's not even important. This is what's important. And when you understand what's important, and the most important thing is time, what I do is teach my clients how to get back their time.
Same.
How to get back your time. Because you know what? That's the thing that's running out. We don't think about it, but every day that sand is just falling. It's falling, and our time is running out, and we don't know what day that's going to be. So let's make sure that we utilize it well. And that doesn't mean YOLO, go and spend it and mess it up.
That's how people interpret it.
That's how people interpret it. No, when I'm telling you give back time to do the things that you enjoy. And actually, when you really deep it, being in the club, wearing all these clothes, do you really enjoy it? It's not enjoy. It's something that you do,
and you enjoy it for that 2 seconds,
and it's gone. That's why Instagram is so big, because you get to take a picture, you get to relive it. Oh, this is my night. This is it. And now look, even when we talk about the shared space, now if you're smart, a lot of these clothes you can hire. You can hire. Why are we spending so much money looking? And we put it in our wardrobe, and we know when are we going to get a chance to wear it again?
And because you do Instagram so much, you can't even wear it again. Because people will notice.
So now people, and I know it's big in America, is the whole hiring process. But why are we not doing this? Why are we not ahead of these things? Why can't we hire? I know people, even like, I don't know, these things that we spend so much money on. I want to say one day we can hire wigs. Do you know what I mean? Because the way I'm sure there must be
girls pass their wigs around anyway.
Come on,
start a business.
The way that when I sit, because like I said, my thing's personal. So when I sit down with my clients, we talk everything. I'm looking at bank statements. I'm going.
So I want to delve on that because I know we've got so much to talk about. So your program, literally, I want to understand it because many people need this. That's why I wanted to bring you in today, because I need people to understand that. Hey, yes, I teach about property, but before you can even get into property, if you want to scale in property, you've got to get the foundation set.
Exactly.
So what you do specifically is someone comes in front of you. They're literally sitting in front of you.
Right face to face.
Before they come in, you tell them print out your bank statements.
Bring all that.
And then when they bring their bank statements, they've just got to remember that this is a friendly conversation, and there might be some tears because sometimes we need the tears.
You need the tears.
You need it to realize that. By the time you go through their bank statements, you realise that this is what you spend, and you've just found that you spent £10,000 last year on nonsense. But you say you want to buy a house and you don't have money, but that 10k you spent could have been a deposit or could have gone into an ISA.
And when we're talking nonsense, I'm telling you, when I sit down, a lot of the time, Uber. And that's Uber and Uber Eats. When you think how much you're spending on these two things, and I know there's Bolt and all these other ones, but the principle is that a lot of us are wasting money doing stuff that before we used to be happy to take a bus, happy to take a train, happy to walk.
I don't know how people's pride. Why don't you take a walk? I walk.
All of a sudden now we're paying money on this. So what we do is sit down, then we look at your credit. So I get your credit report, and your credit report obviously it shows everything. We sit down, we look at it. You're wondering why you can't. What's happening? Look how you're spending your money. How did we build this? What happened? And then I talk deeper. In what made you spend the money on this? What made you spend it? What was your therapy? What is it? Because actually we realise a lot of the time it's either to impress friends. I've had cases where actually my parents didn't think I would, so you faked it for your parents to show them that you're living something that you're not. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes also you just didn't have when you were younger. You got bullied, so now you're buying the same trainer in different colours because that's what kids were doing at school.
So
but I couldn't do it. Now I'm older, I can do that. Do you know what I mean? Holidays, we couldn't go on school holiday. When everyone used to have the 6 weeks holiday and they could come back and boast what they did, you were in household.
You were at home and sweeping the floor because your mum didn't let you out.
Exactly. And these are the things that you are now using your money to almost pay yourself back for missing out on, instead of paying yourself forward and looking at how do I build, how do I grow. And so when people sit down with me and people might say, oh, 750 is a lot of money. What I'm teaching you will not only save you that money, number one, because
you're blowing that money
anyway, number one. But number two, we didn't invest it. So you're going to make more than that. What I teach people makes them thousands.
Wait. Again, this is so much. I wish we had more time to go through this. So again, number one, analysis.
Yes.
So it's a whole therapy session.
Exactly.
So you do an analysis. You come in. You rip them open.
Rip.
So we say this is where the issues are.
Exactly.
So they've got something to go and deal with.
Exactly.
And then you teach them how to save their money and also invest their money as well.
So what? And this is the maddest part. So once we do that, we then go in and then actually look at. I will tell you what accounts to open, what bank accounts to open. I will tell you what money will be going into each account each month, what money will be going to savings, and so from that we can then plan. Okay, we know in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, we're going to have the deposit. You're going to buy the house. Guess what? I'm a qualified mortgage advisor, so I'm actually going to do the house purchase for you. I'm actually taking you the whole way. So I'm not saying okay, this sounds like a good idea, and then you can go and do it. No, once you're ready, I'm going to do that for you. Then also what we'll do is look at what do we need to do to get you to where you want to be. So we're looking at your income, we're looking at your outgoings. Sometimes it's like, okay, yes, you do need a second job. But then I'm going to give you the ideas. I'm going to look at what are the skills that you have, what are the things we can do. I'm going to help you do it. You see my social media following. I know how to do the social media. I know how to advertise. I'm going to teach you all these things, how to get these things done. Then investing. If we're ready to invest, I'm going to help you. We're going to look at your attitude to risk. Find out what type of risk you are. I'm going to show you what investments you can open on what platforms. Get you open, get you started investing, and invest regular. I am a believer in investing on regular. So when it comes to investing in stocks and shares and investments, we do regular. When it comes to investing in property, we do lump sum.
Yes.
Okay? And so because of that, we're going to do small amounts regular, get you into the habit, and then each year we'll increase it. So someone today might start at £50.
Yes.
In 3 or 4 years, you might be putting 500.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And you won't feel it.
And you won't feel it because
it's a gradual over time. And your money and your income has gone up over that time as well. And so this is how we do it. And this is how we build. And this is how this is how I help my clients.
I personally think it's so undervalued.
Yeah.
I personally wish what you're teaching now is a school curriculum. I personally wish every single young person that I know could learn all this stuff when they were at school, because it's a big issue. If you're not learning at school, you develop habits from your parents who don't know money, and you develop habits from your friends, from their parents, and most of the time they don't even know how to make money, so you're picking up bad habits.
Exactly. And so now schools, I'm doing schools, universities are bringing me in to come and give talks, which is amazing.
Didn't you speak at some massive university recently?
Just a little one.
Just a tiny one.
Just Cambridge.
It was just Cambridge. Yeah,
it just so happened to be the number one university in the UK. Just the number one.
I wanted to touch on something as well. One of the reasons why I think it's important to have people like you on this platform is you are, this word is important, you are qualified.
Yes.
It's not fluff.
No.
It's not, I've read a book somewhere and therefore I'm happy to give advice.
Exactly.
You are qualified to actually help people create what the future they need to create.
Exactly. And have been for over 12 years.
Wow.
And so when I tell you, I've been here, I've seen the recessions, I've seen money go up, I've seen money go down, I've seen rich people lose money and make it back. I've seen clients that, some of the millionaire clients that I've got today were bankrupt 4 or 5 years ago. It's not, and when they say bankrupt, they've got nothing. They've started from zero. But if you've got knowledge,
it's all here.
This is what I try and tell people.
And the willingness to learn.
And and be coachable. Yeah. That's one of the big things. Be coachable. Sometimes people are so up themselves. Oh, I deserve this. I've been through this. And listen, we could all tell you stories of, we've been scarred by this or let down by this person or promised this or promised that. The point is what are you going to do about it? Are you ready to change? Are you ready to develop? Are you ready to grow? Are you ready to be coachable? Are you ready to listen and do better than anyone else?
How important is it to have a plan?
I think I did a video the other day and I said 70 or 75% of people that have a New Year's resolution don't complete it because they have no plan.
And it's just an idea.
It's just an idea. Yeah. And it doesn't become reality until you've planned it. And I always tell people, even if you have a plan and you don't achieve your goal, I'm telling you, you're going to be so much closer than anybody else that doesn't have a plan. And so sometimes we feel like we can just say something into the atmosphere. And sometimes it's this whole church thing. Speak it and it'll come into existence. But there has to be action behind it.
See, the part that pastor and uncle's not telling them is, you've got to do the action.
You have to. And that's the part we're not doing. We're not doing the action. We just keep saying, yes, I'm going to be a millionaire one day. And you're doing nothing. Your 9 to 5 is not going to make you a millionaire. It's what you use that money that you earn from your 9 to 5 to create. And that's what somebody else has done. And sometimes I'm a person that says, this.
Do you remember what you were just about to say? You're talking about 9 to 5.
Yes, 9 to 5, yeah. So for me, one thing I always say is, with 9 to 5, is that for me, somebody had an idea and now they can afford to pay you.
Yeah, wow, yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so why are we so comfortable being paid by somebody else's dream and living somebody else's dream when we can take that money and do what we want to do? And don't get me wrong, not everybody wants to be a business owner. But like I said the other day, one of my good clients took their money, used it, buy a shop, did the shop up. Now it's a barber shop. They are never there.
Yeah.
They're barbers and they run themselves. But they are now getting an income from a business.
And we can do this.
So when I say business, it doesn't mean you have to be there day in, day out. You can invest. You can buy the lease to something, own it, and lease it out. That is a business.
Just like this office.
It's a business. Yeah. It's not something that requires your everyday. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're not someone that I don't want to manage, I don't want staff, that's fair enough. It's not for everyone. Yeah. But you can still be a business owner without that. Wow. And so for me, I always tell people these three things. You need to you need to invest in business, property, and a share portfolio. And when I say share portfolio, that's both ISA and pension. Okay. So when you've now got all three of those, that is wealth.
Because there are rules to creating wealth. Yeah, there are rules, but so many people, they learn from just YouTube they learn from watching someone else, not knowing that some of these people have got financial advisors that are teaching them and structuring where they should put their money. I wanted to touch on something. This was a question someone wanted to understand. Credit. How important is it to have good credit?
I think credit is really, really, really is vital, especially for us. Because it's a word that you mentioned earlier, leverage. Yeah. It's something that we need to be able to do because our parents, most of our parents, don't have the financial capability to give us our initial, here's your seed money.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Here's how it goes. And a lot of the time, again, when people want to get seed money, they haven't actually started.
Yeah.
And these are the hardest business to invest in, is an idea. Yeah. You need to be on the ground doing it, understanding the market, and show figures that you can be profitable. And so for me, leverage allows you to be able to get something. Credit allows you to leverage to get something, access to something.
So is that why you mentioned during your training program, during your course, that you get people's credit reports?
Yes.
And you can see what's causing their credit to be low or what they need to do or remove to increase it as well?
Because there's a big difference. Because when you now want to buy a house, 1%, 2% difference based on your credit score
makes a massive difference.
Thousands of pounds over 25, 30, 35 years.
People don't analyse
They don't analyse this stuff. And I always say there can be two people driving the exact same car and one person can be paying £200 to £300 more
than the other person.
And they're getting no additional benefit.
All because of credit.
All because of credit.
And most of the time it comes down to your spending and behaviour with money.
Wow. And until you understand those behaviours and master that, you'll continue to be getting rejected or continue to pay a higher amount to access the same thing that other people do at a lower amount.
So you, just before we round up, you're quite famous.
A little bit.
I say that because you were on a TV show.
I was.
And it was a TV show called Save Well, Spend Better. And you were with a few other people, and you guys are known as credible experts when it comes down to finance. What are some of the crazy things that you came across during that show? Obviously, you might not be able to say the person's name. You can just give some overviews so that people know that as bad as they feel their situation is, there are some people that are worse than them and they can turn around.
On the show, one of the worst ones, I was literally in tears. This lovely couple, and I remember, because we get a little bit of information about them beforehand, before we go in. And so when I saw that the amount of debt they had, I had my back up. How could responsible people get into this situation?
So were they working?
Both working. Okay. Both working. And so what happened is get in the room, realise, lovely, the nicest, sweetest people, couple, and the way they got into debt was basically because they're kids, because they were afraid that their kids would get bullied if they didn't have certain trainers, certain iPads, certain holidays, certain experiences. And so they were spending money on these things, and yet it was causing them to cripple to the point where your debt has now gone past. No matter how much hard you work, you cannot pay the monthly payments.
And it will put a strain. People that really, I think financial stress is one of the major causes of divorces.
Last year for the first time, money was the main reason for divorce before infidelity.
Oh wow!
For the first time in 2019, it was the first time. that actually happened.
Yeah.
It's always been infidelity, but money actually overtook it. Because that money shows, the guy on the show, he had to take sleeping pills because he could not sleep. He could not go to sleep because when he closes his eyes, all his head is thinking of what's waiting for him. And we laugh, but it's so sad.
It's real.
And basically, they had to go and file for bankruptcy. And
that's an IBA? Is that...
No, full bankruptcy.
Oh, whoa.
So a full-blown bankruptcy. So they had to declare themselves bankrupt. And it's expensive. It's not cheap. Had to declare
you still have to pay for that?
Yeah. They have to pay for themselves to be declared bankrupt. And they declared themselves bankrupt. Both of them did. And now, I spoke to his missus about a month ago, and she now says that he's sleeping. He's actually sleeping for the first time. He's sleeping
because he was able to get a plan
in place.
The thing is, there's so many people in debt, but they hide behind it because of shame.
Exactly.
But the problem is, if you don't, it's again in our community, and again, maybe in the African community, there's so much pride in terms of I don't want people to know that I need help.
Yeah.
And you're making yourself available to say, okay, cool, you don't have to go on Instagram and type I need help. They can work with you, and you can formulate a plan to actually see light at the end of the tunnel. And
I think that's the difference between like the likes of me and you, is that we're so wanting to help a community that actually we do it at a price much lower than what we should do. Number one, but obviously because our people haven't experienced it, they think we're expensive. Do you know what I mean? And it's one of those things where it can be so frustrating because you understand the value and the lives that you can change. And so now I have people from other communities that use my services because they were like, wow, I spoke to someone.
Do you know what? You've just hit the nail on the head. This is so important. What you just said, because outside. So number one, we both, for personal reasons, we both choose to keep our prices at a level that still causes people to take action, but at the same time, it needs to be something that makes them take it serious. So it's very low. As I was saying before, I honestly believe what you're offering is so underpriced, and it should be around £3,000, £4,000, £5,000. Because if you can take someone that doesn't even have a plan in place, just even creating a plan for someone and hope. Because you see, hope is, you can't quantify it. So now you never saw yourself being a homeowner. You've now given them a clear path to becoming a homeowner. Number two, you've now given them a clear path to be able to save for their children's children. They can now feed their family. They can sleep better. That should be in the thousands and thousands. But you've hit the nail on the head. Same as me. I have people like you from outside of the community we're trying to serve to say, why are your prices so low? Because when I spoke to my guy from my community, he's charging so and so. So again, this is the thing, guys. I think we've got to get serious and accept something. What we don't know is what we don't know. And if you don't know something, there are people out there that will say, I'm willing to show you. If you believe somebody is an expert, if you have the audacity to reach out to someone and say, hey, do you know what? Can you help me? Can I pick your brain? Can I get some understanding? It's because you believe they have some knowledge. Then you've got to accept that that knowledge comes with a price tag. Why? Because you are busy living your lives, creating more money for yourself and your family, and you're taking time away from creating for yourself to give this person. And if I'm giving you something that's going to change your life, you better be willing. In fact, you better be praying and telling every single person to come and do the same thing as well.
And this is what I do. Look, people love my social media, and I've got quite a large following. I didn't know how to use Instagram. I'm a finance guy. I had to pay someone £500 a month
to learn how
just to post like twice a week, and do you know what I mean? Like, and show me how to create. I didn't know nothing about Canva. But obviously, once I realized, like, you lot are robbing me.
I'm paying you X amount of money. I can do this myself.
I can do myself. But I've had to learn, and so I had to pay someone to learn marketing. I did my own logos, and it was cool. It was cool, but now there's levels. Do you understand? And so when you realize that there's levels, and you realize the people that you're now appealing to, you understand that you now have to invest. So even though yes, I'm saying, I'm a financial advisor, invest in me, let me help you with your finances. But I still need to invest in people around me. And I still have to learn. I still have to come and meet people and learn and develop, because if once you stop learning, you stop growing, you're finished.
You're done. You're absolutely done. Man, I love this interview, man. I wish we could go on forever, because I'm even learning so much myself. I'm going to put Emmanuel's Instagram and email and website details below. So when you guys are actually sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you say, I need change, you should reach out to him straight away. Get booked onto one of the consultations, get booked onto one of the courses, and get yourself straight. Because, look, let me speak to the Christian folks for a second. We talk about a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. The problem is, if you ain't even got enough money to feed yourself, what are you going to leave behind for someone else? So we've got to get serious, and we've got to start looking for people within our community that genuinely care about empowering our community, because, as they say, it takes a village to raise a kid. Where are all the people here that are trying to raise your kids and trying to influence our community? So again, guys, I want people to get serious. That's why I wanted to really get him on here, and he's a super busy guy. So please consume this video, reach out to him, get yourself on one of these programs, and I'll catch you guys soon. Is there anything you want to say?
I just want to say, number one is that invest in yourself and understand the difference between someone who's trying to sell you something and someone that's really trying to help you. And one of the main reasons why I wanted to come on today is because I've seen TJ for years. I've been watching his videos for years. And I know he's a man of integrity, and he's a man that really wants to help. And I know I do stuff the traditional way, banking, get a mortgage, buy a house, buy the asset. I'm always going to believe in that. But for a lot of us, we're not there yet. And TJ's strategy is so important. When we talk about multiple streams of income, when we talk about, oh, I want to be a millionaire, but you've only got one job, one income. And we know that millionaires have 7 different incomes. This can be a stream of income. And then even the stream of income can create another stream of income. So for me, it's so vital that even I'm now telling my property guys, my people that have bought houses, and say, listen, look at this. Someone look at this. This is another way. Let's go. Let's do this, and we can do this cheaper, quicker, and get you the same a similar income without the stress.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So it's so vital. It's so important. And they always say there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to get to financial freedom.
Absolutely.
But if we don't do anything, we're definitely not going to get there.
As you said, there's more than one way to do anything, but you've just got to start.
You got to do it. You got to do it.
That's probably the biggest hurdle people like us have. Is everyone wants change, but they're not willing to take the first step.
Definitely.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you got some value from this video. Catch you soon.